we visited Vilvavan, and then we went to Belban or whatever that is, and then we went to Panigaon. And today is our last day of Kartik. Right? It's a desire that Kartik could have continued. Maybe not for all, but maybe for some. But it is the final day, and we can't have one more day and continue like this. But we could wish that we could stay in Vrindavan forever, and Kartik could go on and on. But like yesterday, I was telling, everything should come to an end, and but in the higher spiritual sense, if we are able to carry Vrindavan in our heart, I think that's the success. So yesterday, where you all were there, was in this place called Panigaon, where my cursor is. Okay, this is Belban, and then we went to Panigaon. Of course, the long journey, it all started from Vrindavan to Akrura Ghat to Mathura to Madhuban to Talvan to Bahulavan, to Pait, to Gantroli, to Radhakund, to Govardhan, Adivadri, Kedar, Kamyavan, Sanket, Varsana, Nandgaon, Kokilavan. Then we went to Ramghat, Chirghat, Handiraban, and then Panigaon, and I missed Jawat because I've never been. Jawat is somewhere Kokilavan, then where is Jawat? This is Jawat, and then Kosi. These two things I didn't say. Jawat and Kosi, and then So yesterday was Handiraban, and from not yesterday, day for yesterday. Yesterday was Belban and Panigaon, and today we wish to visit Rawal, Dauji, and then from there we want to go back to place from where we started. From there you are on your own. You can go back to wherever you came, whichever consciousness you want to be. That's your choice, your life. But our responsibility is to bring you back to Vrindavan. So that being said, yesterday I was telling how difficult or how rare this commodity of time is. And like I was giving that example from Narad Purana of the boy, whatever his name may be. Busy in life, and the time passes by. Atyakramad abhigyata, imperceptible. Kalaha paramadustara. Very interestingly, now that we have another 15-20 minutes, maybe maximum 25 minutes, I want to speak something from a realization of a pure devotee of the Lord. And this devotee of the Lord is Akrura. Akrura is someone who is a specialist, right? He has mastered the art of entering into Vrindavan, not just the physical space of Vrindavan, but the realm of Vrindavan. So this is a prayer offered by Akrura, where he's telling, hope I'm recording or not. So this is a prayer which is offered by Akrura, and he is telling, Mayeva mama adhamasya api syadeva chitadarshanam priyamanaha kala nadya vachit tarati kaschan. Actually, in this material world, people are trying different ways to be happy. They are working so hard. And priyamanaha kala nadya. Kala nadya is the river of time, which we were talking of yesterday. Kalaha paramadustaraha. Abhigyataha atyakramat. Kalaha paramadustara. Here it is mentioned as Kala Nadya. It's a river of time where we are flowing. Kriyamanaha, we are being pulled. Kriyamanaha Kala Nadya. Kvachittarati kaschana. There is someone, there is a chance, there is a very rare fortune of a person who can get saved by reaching the shore, and the shore is that of association of devotees, where one gets a chance to hear. Maivam mama dhamsyapi syadevachyuta darshanam vriyamanah kala nadya kvachit tarati kaschana. Mama adhamasya api. I may be very fallen. Actually, people don't even acknowledge that they are fallen. I may have all the impurities in my heart. Adhama is like the most degraded, worse than Jagai Madhai. All those things are deeply rooted in my heart. Externally, I may look like a devotee. Maivam mama adhamasya api. Even though I am the most fallen, adhamasya api, syad eva achyuta darshanam. This is possible to have achyuta darshanam, a desire to see the beautiful form of the Lord. Doesn't matter who I am a servant of Kamsa, I'm servant of whatever he's thinking in his mind. Maivam mama adhamasya api syad eva achyuta darshanam vriyamanah kala nadya. Vriyamana is a forceful thing. It's being dragged in Kala Nadya. Kala Nadya is not a very peaceful lake where there is no waves, nothing. You can just peacefully, you can dance, or you can relax or something. No. Vriyamana Kala Nadya kvachit tarati kaschan. Somebody can just be saved, can reach the shore just by coming in association of devotees. Talking from Shyam Sundar Prabhu's one very interesting pastime, where he was supposed to go to Russia, and he was accompanying Prabhupada. And Russia at those days was it was a communist country, and there was no form of religion which was allowed. I mean, you can't go in and openly speak about some other philosophy and all. So Shyam Sundar Prabhu, being aware of it, when he packed his luggage, he ensured that the Bhagavad Gita is kept outside. And he packed it, and he was ready to go. But he realized, actually, his wife realized that, Shyam Sundar Prabhu has not carried his Bhagavad Gita. Maybe he forgot in hurry. So when he was not there, she actually packed. She put the book inside, which was not known to Shyam Sundar Prabhu. So the security check, when they were checking Shyam Sundar Prabhu's luggage, he was very confident. Anyway, I'm not carrying anything, and he was so confident. And when they opened up, the first thing that they saw was Bhagavad Gita. And they questioned, what is this? Why are you carrying this? He was shocked, and it was not that he was thinking it is hand of Krishna. Krishna has kept the book inside. No, he knows it's my wife, full stupid lady. She has put this book inside. I knew this would happen. And when those security people were opening that book, they found they were not knowing, but inside that book there were a lot of photos of Radha Krishna, photos of Prabhupada, and it all fell down. So when it fell down, Shyam Sundar Prabhu made a big scene out of it. What is this? These are all worshipable things. You guys not know even. Do you care even this? This is something which I cherish so much. And he became so annoyed. Those people thought, my God, this is something. It's not, we should not hold him. They allowed him to go. And they allowed him to go, and that is how Bhagavad Gita made entry to Russia. And once Bhagavad Gita entered, it is mentioned even those days, there was just one devotee, one person who was little inclined and interested, and he met Prabhupada, spent 2-3 days with Prabhupada, and his life got transformed. It is mentioned that actually when in the initial days Bhagavad Gita was not available, these people used to write the slokas of Bhagavad Gita and share it with each other to read and understand what is this message of Krishna. And when the Soviet Union fell, there was a big billboard. And one of the first billboards is a picture of that, if you can search. I was trying to find, but I could not. I probably didn't put it. Bhagavad Gita as it is was one of the billboards signs which came over there. So Maivam mama adhamasyapi syadevachyuta darshanam priyamanah kala nadya kvachit tarati kaschan. Priyamanah kala nadya. In Kala Nadya, in this river of time which nobody sees, imperceptible, where we are all dragged, kvachit tarati kaschan. One can be saved if he comes in association of a devotee. So very interestingly, Vrindavan, as I said, is not just a place which exists where Krishna performed his pastimes. It is also a state of consciousness. And that state of consciousness is something which we should aspire for. So a few more verses, I would say, I would just like you to remember or know these verses when we are coming. This is an end of our Vrindavan Parikrama. Very interesting to carry these verses with us. So this verse is spoken by, this is the dialogue which is happening between Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit. And here Parikshit, there are two verses actually in sequence. This is 10.13.2 and 10.13.3. Shrunusva va ahito rajan api guhyam vadami te bruhya snigdhasya sisyasya gurovo guhyam api uta. Actually, the days are very less. There are 1 or 2 days remaining, and this is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning 13th chapter. Parikshit is hearing with rapt attention. Suddenly, Sukadeva Goswami is telling, Shrunusva avahito rajan api guhyam vadamite. I'm going to tell you the most confidential part. Api guhyam vadamite. Bruhya snigdhasya sisyasya gurovo guhyam api uta. I'm very pleased with one attitude of yours. This one attitude of yours has pleased me so much that I'm not hesitating to share this most confidential knowledge. And what is that attitude? That is mentioned in the first verse. Satam ayam sarabhatam nisargo yad arthavani shruti chetasam api pratikshanam navyavad achyutasya yat striya vitanam eva sadhu varta. So Paramahamsa's devotees who have accepted the essence of life are attached to Krishna in the core of their hearts. And he is the aim of their lives. It is their nature to talk only of Krishna at every moment, as if such topics were newer and newer. They are attached to such topics just as materialists are attached to topics of women and sex. Striya vitanam iva sadhu varta pratikshanam navyevad achyutasya yat. Since Krishna and Krishna's talks are non-different, every moment Krishna is infinite and his talks also can give us infinite reciprocation. Pratikshanam navyavad achyutasya yat striya vitanam iva sadhu varta. Like the whole world, the material world is enamored by this talk of attraction for opposite sex and women or men, whatever it is. Similarly, the sadhus who are absorbed in Krishna, they relish pratikshanam navyavad achyutasya yat. Very interestingly, so if you see the first 2 lines of this verse, Satam ayam sarabhratam nisargo yadartha vani shruti chetasam api. If by somehow our Vani, Shruti and Chetasam, Vani is our ability to speak, Shruti is hearing, and Chetasam is our mind or our heart or consciousness, gets absorbed in Krishna. Yadartha Vani, Shruti, Chetasam api. This is the essence of life. If one gets attached to Krishna in the core of the hearts, that is the aim of life. So since Parikshit was attached somehow or other by Vani, Shruti and Chetasa, Sukadeva Goswami is not hesitating to speak the most confidential knowledge. Satam ayam sarabhratam nisargo yadartha vani shruti chetasam api pratikshanam navyavad achyutasya yat striya vitanam iva sadhu varta. Actually, the mood of Vrindavan, if you want to understand, you have to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing in Jagannath Rath Yatra. Yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was dancing before the deities of Lord Jagannath, in Rath Yatra, he is exhibiting the symptoms of Radharani, because Kurukshetra represents, Kurukshetra is the place where they met, the Brajavasis met Krishna and Balaram after hundreds of years. And then even though they met Radha and Krishna, the Radharani, Gopis and the Brajavasis, they were not very satisfied meeting Krishna. Rather, Radharani is telling, this Krishna I don't even recognize. He is now wearing a royal throne with a royal gown with royal crown and with a sword. He's a king. I don't even know. I want that Krishna who belongs to Vrindavan. So the understanding the mood of Radharani, the gopis actually in their mind create a ratha, and they're pulling Krishna from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. The state of whatever his state of being was in Kurukshetra, the king of Mathura, they want to pull him to the same state of Vrindavan. So Rath Yatra actually happens from the main temple to Gundicha temple is nothing but Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. And any devotee who is pulling this rope, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of Radharani becomes happy because this devotee is helping bringing Krishna back from Mathura to Vrindavan. So there's a nice song which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sings. It's there in the Madhya Lila. Continuously sings. Nobody understands except for Saurabh Damodar. But the meaning of that song is, if you see in Madhya Lila, I think it is in the 13th chapter, it is mentioned that if one can learn to remain absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, that is what is demonstrated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by spending 18 years in Puri, in Jagannath Puri, just in a 10 by 10 room in Gambhira. He was demonstrating this, that the newer and newer states of ecstasy can be experienced within. You don't have to go and agitate the modes outside to experience happiness. It lies within. But to experience that state of Vrindavan, one needs to absorb his Vani, Shruti and Chetasam in Krishna. Yadartha Vani, Shruti, Chetasam api. Initial days, that's why if you see one of the first deities which was established by Prabhupada in the Western countries was Jagannath, carved by Shyam Sundar Prabhu again. Right? So it was in San Francisco. And when the deity installation happened in those days, very interestingly, Jagannath deity installation is happening, and Prabhupada had given instruction to the hippies that there is nothing, Hare Krishna mantra is going on, and he asked them to take some candles in hand and rotate like this. So some hippie asked Prabhupada, how many times? Well, as many times as possible when your hand is not tired. Just keep doing that. So keep doing that, and then the only criteria, so you don't need to be second initiated. You don't need to have, there is no qualification required. So you don't know even mantra, that's fine. Just rotate this and just wear some dress. That is the criteria which Prabhupada had given. And they did this. And then after the deity installation was done, the very next day, Jagannath was missing in the altar. They had taken Jagannath to the beach. Right? So when Prabhupada asked, what happened, where is Jagannath? So they said, well, you told whatever you like, you should dovetail to Krishna. So we thought Jagannath alone might be getting bored here. We took him to beach, right, for the kirtan, wherever they were going. So that is how Prabhupada introduced Rath Yatra. These people had no idea Jagannath is the highest manifestation of, that hearing those ecstatic pastimes of Krishna, his limbs, Krishna's limbs shrunk and he became Jagannath. So he is in the mood of that intense absorption. That deity got established by Prabhupada's mercy in the Western country. Sometimes, this Pandas in Orissa, they say Jagannath belongs to us, right? So Prabhupada says somewhere it is not Udiyanath, it is Jagannath, right? Jagannath is meant for the whole universe. You can't restrict him in one place. And they had Rath Yatra. In fact, there are some devotees who were engaged in devotional service of Jagannath in the earlier days without knowing who they are. There is one letter which one disciple has written to Prabhupada saying that everything is fine, everything is going good, I am enjoying, I am experiencing nice devotional life, but I really don't know whom I am worshipping. Those three vigrahas who are there, I don't know them. Right? So this is the greatest contribution of Srila Prabhupada, giving this Vrindavan consciousness to us, giving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Actually, in that Chaitanya Charitamrita it is mentioned, forget about somebody even knowing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If he just hears the word Gauranga, the word Gauranga itself is so purificatory that, one's state of consciousness, which is absorbed in materialistic things, materialistic thoughts, get purified. So what to speak of even higher state of worship like Jagannath and all, which Prabhupada has given so generously. The last verse before we enter into today's pastime, this is a verse, very interesting verse in Bhagavatam. This is mentioned by Krishna to Uddhava. He is telling, Yatha yathatma parimrijyate aso mat punya gatha shravana avidhanai tatha tatha pasyati vastu sukshmam chakshur yathaivanjana samprayuktam. It's a very nice verse. A blind man who has got cataract or who's blind from beginning, when his eyes are operated, he is able to see things. Tatha tatha pasyati vastu sukshmam chakshur yathaivanjana samprayuktam. So when the blind man's eyes are operated by a surgeon or by some expert physician, he removes that either by operation or by anjana, by applying some ointment. His cataract is removed or his complete vision, which he was blind, is removed and he is able to see. There is a sense of gratitude, deep gratitude. Similarly, yatha yathatma parimrijyate aso mat punya gatha shravana abhidhane. Yatha yathatma parimrijyate. Mrijyate marjana. We say mandira marjana. parimrijyate. Actually, it's a cleansing process, cleansing of the material contamination. Yatha yatha atma parimrijyate aso mat punya gatha shravana abhidhane. When we hear the pastimes of the Lord, when we chant abhidhani, to chant or to glorify the pastimes of the Lord, then yatha atma parimrijyate. Then this material contaminations in our heart gets removed. And when that is removed, or the covering is gone, then we can appreciate, we can enter, we can relish Vrindavan pastime. The real problem is our absorption in Krishna Katha in the midst of environment which is very attractive, alluring, so-called alluring material world. And we are averse to Krishna Katha and absorbed in material things. And there is also a deep hankering for our false ego massaging, the satisfaction of our false ego. So we are averse to certain things, we are absorbed in certain things, and our material false ego is also allured by some hankering, by some appreciation, by all those things. So we don't get a natural attraction to Krishna Katha. But here is an example of Parikshit Maharaj or Akrura, who's telling that in this river of time, if somehow one gets an association of devotees, that is how he understands his true position of being subservient, being a servant of Krishna. Not just being servant of Krishna, being engaging in his devotional service. When we become servant of Krishna and engage in his devotional service, he manifests himself. He gives it. Otherwise, what is the verse of Bhagavad Gita? Yogamaya Samabrata. Naham Prakasa Sarvasya Yogamaya Samabrata. Ajanant, no. What are the last two lines? Panduran. Naham Prakasa Sarvasya Yogamaya. There is a curtain which covers the real understanding of the Lord. Mudam Navi Jananti Mavam. Ajam Abhyay, what is the first before that? Loko Mam Ajam Abhyay. Yeah, so Naham Prakasa, the Lord is not, he need not reveal himself. In fact, he is covered. But only when we understand our true position, and not just understand, but also engage in devotional service, he reveals. So yatha yathatma prem rijyate aso mat punya gatha shravana vidhani. So when we do this, we experience the bliss. That is an invitation. So you see why the gopis are so glorified, why Radharani is so glorified. When our opinion, when somebody is not accepting, rejecting, it's a state of dejection, right? When somebody is not accepting, it's a very state of dejection. But dejection is one thing. When your opinion is also not even considered, not even valued, that is even worse. In the case of gopis, Krishna promised that he will come back, right? But he never came back, never returned. But they never gave up the service attitude to the Lord. They continued serving the Lord. This is the highest state of consciousness. Whether things happen as per my liking or not, whether you engage me in service favorably or not, I would continue to engage in devotional service. That mood is the highest state of devotion. It has got nothing to do with what I like, how people are seeing me, whether they noticed or not, irrespective of all those things. Understanding that I am actually servant of the Lord, when I am getting an opportunity, it's a privilege to engage in devotional service, I can experience the true bliss. So today's place that we are going is Dauji, and there is Raval, and I'll bring you back to Vrindavan. So Dauji is a place which is there in Vrindavan. Interestingly, Dauji refers to Balaram, right? Krishna's elder brother. So this place, this town of Dauji, it is a place where just Balaram is worshipped. Very interesting. It is little further than Gokul, and this is a deity of Dauji, predominant deity here. So this was again established by Vajranath, the great grandson of Krishna. So that's why it has got some prominence. The deities established by Vajranath are all very special. So we have heard so many deities being established after Krishna's departure by Vajranath. The name Dauji refers to the older brother of Krishna, and the worship of Balaram is actually very prominent in Sri Vrindavan Dham. So usually we think Vrindavan means Radha Krishna worship, but also there is worship of Krishna and Balaram. That is how Prabhupada in 1970, when he established the ISKCON temple there, he named it as Krishna Balaram Mandir. The main deities there are Krishna Balaram. So this Harigopal Prabhu, he sings that Dauji ki bhaiya Krishna Kanhaiya, right? So I've never heard. I heard from him only. So this is the Dauji's brother is Krishna, who plays the flute. Dauji ki bhaiya Krishna Kanhaiya. Huh? What is that? So this town of Dauji is very simple. It's a rural atmosphere, not much, business, nothing. But the villagers, who are mostly farmers, they come in the morning and the evening and have darshan of Dauji. So in this place of Dauji, we should remember that there is no difference between Krishna and Balaram. In fact, the first expansion of Krishna is Balaram, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is non-different from him, except for the complexion, which is, white spring cloud. So Lord Balaram's role is not just as a protective elder brother, he also expands himself in the form of Vrindavan. He also expands himself in the form of the Lord's paraphernalia, even Krishna's ornaments, just to serve him. So by remembering Krishna and Balaram, we can awaken our deeper love for Krishna and Balaram. So on this day where, that we have come to this place, because it's a unique place, I thought we should cover this, that, it is the place where Balaram is worshipped, who is the source of all the spiritual world. And he is the Adi Guru, the original spiritual master. So let us pray to Balaram, or his representative, Srila Prabhupada, who is the original Guru Tattva, to remove the darkness of ignorance, to remove the material attractions which has kept us captivated in this material world for many, many births. This life, this time, let us pray to Balaram, let's pray to Srila Prabhupada to get attraction for Krishna, to get attraction for Krishna Katha, to get absorbed our Vani, Chitta and Shruti, Vak, Shruti and Chetana in Krishna Katha. So after this we will move now to the place which is a very special place, very, very beautiful place, and this place is called Raval. Okay, this is so special because we are ending today, so we kept it till the last day. This word Raval means an influential landlord. So this is named after Vrishabhanu Maharaj, who was the most influential landlord of his time. And who is Radharani? How she is related to Vrishabhanu? Huh?
His daughter.
Yes. Yes. So Vrishabhanu Maharaj's daughter is Radharani. Srimati Radharani ki Jai. So one morning when Vrishabhanu Maharaj went to bathe in Yamuna, he saw a radiant lotus flower and it had 100 petals. And in the midst of that flower, there was this beautiful little baby. And this was none other than Srimati Radharani herself. And he picked her very tenderly and he placed her in the lap of his wife Kirtida Sundari. Right? So Radharani's mother's name is Kirtida. There was one interesting thing about Radharani's birth. I'm sure we have seen this, but just by seeing her, all the Brajavasis, their hearts of the Brajavasis, they were free from all material miseries and they were deeply attached to her. And they could think nothing except her. But for some inconceivable reason, she was never opening her eyes, nor would she acknowledge any sound or make any sound from her mouth. So it appeared as if, they were ecstatic and joyous seeing this beautiful baby, but at the same time they were morose that probably the child is blind and deaf and dumb. So that time Narad Muni comes to reveal who is who, right? Narad Muni came to Raval Dham because he wanted the darshan of Srimati Radharani. So Vrishabhanu Maharaj was thinking, as beautiful as child is, she is blind. Is this inauspicious? So then Narad Muni comes there and he immediately offers his prostrated obeisances. And he began to circumambulate the beautiful golden baby with tears of love in his eyes, all the while dancing and chanting the glories of Srimati Radharani. After this, Narada explained to Vrishabhanu Maharaj that he should have a grand celebration and let everyone know about the child's birth. So, as advised by Narad Muni, Vrishabhanu Maharaj actually organized a big festival, and he invited everyone, including Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, and along with them, their baby, little baby Gopal Krishna Muralidhar. So they all reached there to congratulate her, and at that time, when all the elders, they were busy discussing some topics, Krishna crawled towards the swinging cradle in which Radharani was sitting, and he somehow reached up and placed his beautiful moon-like face in front of her. Srimati Radharani, who had not wanted to see anything of this world except her beloved Shyam Sundar, immediately opened her eyes and began to cry in ecstatic love. And when the Brajavasis saw this wonderful pastime, they all began to celebrate the glories of Radharani. So the whole mood of Vrindavan, actually the Lord doesn't display any power in Vrindavan. Vrindavan, the power is vested or is given to Brinda Devi or Srimati Radharani. Right? And they have captured the Lord by their love. So when we are there in Raval, such a beautiful place, actually a beautiful temple also, we are like beggars. We are begging her grace, her mercy. If we please Srimati Radharani by serving our spiritual master and Vaishnavas and being very sincere in our spiritual life, then she will remove all our obstacles, such as anger, pride, and greed. And she'll open our hearts and reveal the deep mystery of love of Krishna. So very auspicious day, very auspicious place, and very auspicious pastime of Radharani. And if we are able to remember her, ask for her mercy on this day, then she will definitely listen. Actually, Radharani is the whole mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as I was explaining in the reason why he stayed back. He wants to see if anybody is willing to hold that rope, wants to come and pull or be part of Krishna's pastimes, coming forward to be engaged in his service, then Radharani reciprocates, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reciprocates. So there is a very beautiful prayer of Srimati Radharani. I thought we will chant this prayer. So this prayer is composed by Rupa Goswami, and he's telling, Munindra Vranda Vandite Triloka Soka Harini Prasanna Vaktra Pankaje Nikunja Bhubilasini Brajendra Bhanu Nandini Brajendra Sunu Sangate Kada Karishya Simam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam. Actually, the meaning of this prayer is very, very, very powerful, very nice. So the meaning is, O goddess worshipped by the kings of sages, Munindra Vranda Vandite, Munindra Vranda Vandite. O goddess or Radharani who is worshipped by the king of sages, Munindra. Munindra Vranda Vandite, Triloka Soka Harini. O goddess who removes the sufferings of the three worlds. Triloka Soka Harini. Prasanna Vaktra Pankaje, O goddess whose face is blossoming lotus. Nikunja Bhu Vilasini, O goddess who enjoys pastimes in the forest. Brajendra Bhanu Nandini, O daughter of Vrishabhanu. Brajendra Sunu Sangate, O companion of Braja's prince, when will you cast your merciful sidelong glance upon me? Kada Karishya Sishamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajan. When will you cast your merciful sidelong glance upon me? Actually, we don't have many hopes. Unfortunately, we don't even realize our precarious position. Only if Radharani's mercy is there is a chance that, one can, all this material vasanas can become tuchha and can get a chance to enter into Vrindavan. Okay, next is Vrindavan. And this is where we started, maybe 30 days back. And how do we close this? You see how dear Vrindavan was for Prabhupada. Even before ISKCON started, Prabhupada was living in this small place in Radha Damodar temple. Very austere life, but very happy, very deeply absorbed in the state of Vrindavan consciousness, looking at the Samadhi Mandir of Rupa Goswami. Even much later, when he brought his disciples to Vrindavan, there are some classes on nectar of devotion which are given in Rupa Goswami Samadhi Mandir in Vrindavan. They're just nectar, actually, sheer nectar. Or inspiring his disciples to build this wonderful temple, Krishna Balaram temple, where it was considered in the outskirts of Vrindavan, land close to Ramanriti. Who would go there? But Prabhupada could inspire his disciples to build this temple, which is not easy for the Westerners to live in that land where there was nothing, no support, not to understand the language. Yet they built this monumental, grand Krishna Balaram temple. That's the crowning glory of Prabhupada's life. And the satisfaction in his face can be seen when he was doing this Arati for Krishna Balaram. Not just this, even the final days, Prabhupada chose to be there in Vrindavan. So, very special place, Vrindavan. In fact, Prabhupada says that Bombay is my office, Mayapur is my place of worship, but Vrindavan is my home. So, the final day of our Vrindavan Rajmandal Parikrama, that we have reached Vrindavan, where you all can go to your places, wherever you are coming from. One thing which we should remember, as I was mentioning in the beginning itself, Vrindavan is not restricted to a land. It is not just a tract of land, it is also a state of consciousness. Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami says, Tan nama rupa charitadi sukirtanan. If a person is always engaged in chanting Krishna's names, Tan nama, serving Krishna, Rupa charitadi, or not just the names, Rupa and charitadi, his beautiful form, his pastimes, in whatever way, if somebody is engaged in discussing this wonderful divine pastimes of the Lord, then Tishtan Braje Tad Anuragi Jananugami. Tishtan Braje Tad Anuragi Jananugami. Then you can live in Vrindavan all the time, and you will be following in the footsteps of the residents of Braja. So today, unfortunately, we have to leave you here in Vrindavan. You have to find your own ways and means to go back to where you want to go. But like Krishna says, he never stepped out of Vrindavan. Prabhupada also says, physically I left Vrindavan. There is a very wonderful conversation how the Rukmini Dwarikadhish temple came up in Los Angeles. How Prabhupada had to leave to come to Vrindavan. There was a dialogue which is happening between Rukmini Dwarikadhish and Krishna and Prabhupada. And Prabhupada is saying, I don't want to leave this place. I've got these disciples who are premature. They don't know how to engage in devotional service. I have to constantly guide them. But there's a conversation which is happening between Rukmini Dwarikadhish and Prabhupada, and they say, no, you have to build a temple in Vrindavan. You must go. And there is a beautiful temple which will manifest, this Krishna Balaram temple. So, because of the order of Rukmini Dwarikadhish, Prabhupada left Los Angeles to come to Vrindavan to build this wonderful temple. But he says, I never stepped out of Vrindavan ever. I was always living in Vrindavan because I always dedicated to trying to serve Krishna and his representatives. Right? In the Prabhupada Leelamrita, there is a story of one elderly Bengali lady. She used to bring water from Yamuna to Radha Damodar deities in a broken bucket every single day. Doesn't matter whether it is cold, whether it is hot, whatever the weather may be, whether it is raining. And Prabhupada, even after he came back from establishing ISKCON with his disciples, he would say that he was telling his disciples that this life is going to be her last life. She will not come back here again. She is ready to re-enter Krishna's abode because she is already living in that Vrindavan consciousness. And if someone leaves the world in Vrindavan consciousness, then ultimately they enter Vrindavan. So this is the beauty of Vrindavan. I can go on and on and on about Vrindavan, but as you know, I was telling yesterday also that everything in this world comes to an end, right? Whether it is good or bad. And like that, our time together to virtually visit these places of Vrindavan and relish this eternal pastimes of the Lord, it's an invitation. There is a mention of a beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita where it is mentioned when Krishna plays his flute, that flute is an invitation to people who are absorbed in this material world to give up all this sense gratificatory nonsense business and enter into the eternal pastimes of the Lord. The gopis could do that. They forgot all their concerns, all, not ordinary. That is why Ramya Kachi Dupasana Brajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita. The flute of Krishna, the flute which Krishna played is right now available in the form of the Sankirtan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan is an open invitation. Forget your household responsibilities, your duties that you have created for yourself. Come and participate. Participate and be the recipient of Krishna's mercy. And just by becoming this recipient of Krishna's mercy, one can come out of this ocean of material existence. I'll stop here with one small pastime. This is where we started, that Kala Nadya, the verse which I spoke of, Shyadeva Achyuta Darshanam Hriyamana Kala Nadya Kvachit Tarati Kaschana, the verse which Akrura spoke. This is a real life story. I sometimes read this, how I came to Krishna consciousness, right? That it used to come, maybe it might be still coming back to Godhead magazine. So this is a real life story of someone. Who's that someone? I'll tell you. So this person, what happened was, he was a captain of a ship, and the ship, it landed in Bombay. It was not a planned landing. They had to, they had to arrive at Bombay for some time. And this captain, like, some of us, like Harigopal, who wants to have trees or plants everywhere, right? He will put some from somewhere, he'll come, bring and he'll put it. That fellow also had some desire to have some plant in his cabin, in the ship. So he went out in Bombay. Now that the ship has landed there, he went and he searched. He found one plant and he kept in his office, and he'll water that. Little did he know that that plant that he has got is Tulsi plant. He had no idea. So he was watering the Tulsi plant, and then the ship remained in Bombay for a few days. So he was watering the Tulsi plant, and then after 2 or 3 days, he realized, 3 days maybe, that the Tulsi plant is not growing. I mean, it is becoming a little dull. There is no sunshine. There is so many problems, whatever is happening, like spider attacking, God knows what other things. Some things were going on, not right, and he was not happy. And then he was sad, and he was again roaming in the city, and he met a devotee. And the devotee gave him a Bhagavad Gita, said that you read this Bhagavad Gita. He said, okay. He took it, and he took the Bhagavad Gita. Then the next day, coincidentally, that same devotee again met him and asked him, did you read Bhagavad Gita? He said, no, I have not read. Yesterday only I took, where is the time for reading? I have not read. Okay, no problem. Then coincidentally, again the third day they met in another place. So this guy thought, my God, this person, wherever I'm going, is following, or what is it, all pervading, is available everywhere. He asked him the same question, did you read Bhagavad Gita? He said, no, I mean, I'm busy, I'm not supposed to be here, I'm just, I've not got time. So incidentally, the following day also they met each other in another place in Bombay where he was roaming around. And he asked the same question, did you read Bhagavad Gita? Then this time he didn't want to say, no, I didn't read. He said, yes, I have read. So then he asked him, how did you find Bhagavad Gita? Well, some person was okay, some person was not so okay, but I'm okay. Like he says, Madhav says, yeah, okay, bro, okay. Okay, bro, I don't want, I want, I'm okay. So he also said, it's okay, it's okay. I said, it's okay, like that he told. That devotee caught him saying that if you have read Bhagavad Gita, there are only two possibilities. Either you don't like it, you just couldn't understand, or you are completely ecstatic. There is nothing in between. You are lying. So he's caught. He said, my God, this guy is not believing me. And then this person later on read Bhagavad Gita and became a devotee. He's a pujari in Europe. His name is some Kalachakra Krishna Das or something. Something. So this is that Kriyamana Kala Nadya Pachit Tarati Kaschan. Right? In this Kala Nadya, when we are getting flown, when we are getting driven without our desire, and Kala is anyway forcing us, taking us away. Pachit Tarati Kaschan. One person can reach the shore, can come out of this cycle of birth and death by coming in association of devotees, by getting a chance to hear Krishna. This is the wonderful opportunity. If you visit Vrindavan without association of devotees, without hearing those pastimes, it will not attract. But these pastimes are the ones that, if you remember one shloka, right, just one shloka, if you can meditate, all the shokas, all the lamentation in life will go. If you remember one pastime of the Lord, any place that we visited, so many places we went, if you can meditate on those, it will give you eternal joy, a bliss of different kind. This is the invitation of Krishna. When he plays that flute, it invites, it is an open invitation. Come out of your material life. Enough. And experience the real joy. Now I have taken a lot of time, but I hope this yatra that you joined with us was meaningful. You could experience some of Vrindavan. We don't have that feeling of being in Vrindavan like our acharyas have. But if there is a little desire that you got to go to Vrindavan or to absorb yourself in Vrindavan, I think this journey was worth it. We will have Damodara Ashtakam now. You can participate in Damodara Ashtakam and one last time for today, for this year, and then offer lamps. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Brajmandal Parikrama ki
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.